Good morning, everybody. It is meteorologist Aiden Weather Forecast, and welcome back to the video, guys. I'm going to be doing a video on the severe weather for the plains and also into the northeast for this Memorial Weekend and Memorial Day. And then I'll have a memorial forecast on Memorial Day. But we're going to have quite a lot of rain in through the plains and actually have some severe weather in the northeast. But before you get to this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you are new. If you love my content, then just go ahead and subscribe. Alright, so let's just get to the video, guys, by looking at the active alerts. So we have quite a lot of flood alerts that have to do with the flooding chances. We have some flood warnings through parts of the Kansas City area to the Oklahoma City area, and then we have some more flood warnings in the South Dakota area. And then we have all around that in the dark green some flood watches. So that's where we're going to have the most amount of rain. And guys, we've had so much rain in the plains in the South Central for the past couple of days due to the climate pattern change. We've had almost up to a foot of rain in some of these areas just in the past couple of days. And we're going to have a lot more rain heading into this area. So that's why we have a lot of flood advisories and watches over here. Because we are really going to have up to another 3 or 4 inches in these areas just in this weekend. So it's quite a lot of rain. Usually see all of rain over here, but it has changed to coming over here. So just watch out, guys. So let's check out now the radar that's going to happen let's check out the radar on the South Central, because that's where we're going to have the severe weather today. And then we have some more severe weather tomorrow. So as we go into today, in the next couple of hours, we're just going to have some calm storms into the South Central part of the Texas area. And then it starts to go away. This is where, as we go more into the noon hours, this is where we have these really strong storms start to develop. Really, really small, but it's really going to get big with the heat. It's going to... with the daylight heat, it's really going to get a lot bigger because it's going to feed on that heat. And then it's going to get a lot bigger. Really strong bands in that northern part of Texas, parts of the southern part of near the Dodge City area, and parts of the Little Stick part of Oklahoma. And as we go more to the next couple of days, or the next couple of hours, it's actually going to even bring some storms for the Iowa area, going to bring some storms for parts of the Missouri and northern Kansas area. But the biggest or the strongest amounts of rain or severe weather will be north of the Oklahoma City area. Really strong storms there, and then possible some strong storms there. The Lawton area. But as we go in the next couple hours, oops, something happens. It should come back. All right, there we go. So as we go in the next couple hours into the afternoon hours, we will really have a good amount of rain, a really severe weather right here into the Kansas, or more to the southwestern part of Kansas. And then these bands start to fall apart as it goes into near the Oklahoma City area, start to fall apart. But then we're just going to have the strongest amount right here. But as we go more into into today, more to the noon hours, more to the evening hours, we're going to have some smaller bands start to fall apart really fast, because it's going to turn to a high pressure system, so it's going to really fall apart there. Going to have some light rain near the Wichita Falls area, but it's not going to be a humongous strong band. It's going to move all the way to the southeast, because it's really going to fall apart with the moisture. With that high pressure system, it's really going to take it apart. But the strongest will be in that Oklahoma City area, or a couple of miles west of it. But we go to tomorrow. That's where we're going to actually have one of the biggest threats. We're going to have some really strong storms form into the western part of Kansas. Really strong storms there, and it's going to bring that band to form and hit the Lincoln, Nebraska area. Going to get some northern part of Kansas, and then we're going to have a smaller band that can be quite severe, but not a humongous threat, but it can still bring some severe weather. And then it just falls apart really fast in the Oklahoma City area, but it does form more into the northern plains area. So that's what I mean by the plains, and then that will move to the northeast. So let's take a look at the plains now. so you guys see what happens. So as we go into tomorrow, we're gonna have these strong bands. All right, so let me get to it. So today we're just gonna have some scattered little strong bands, and then the storm that was happening today, that's gonna happen today, that's gonna bring some severe weather for the northern Missouri area. But again, that will really fall apart really fast. It's gonna just fall apart to scatter little bands. But we go to tomorrow. This is tomorrow. Those really strong bands right here. Oops, something's wrong. Oh, wait. Alright, we have some really strong bands right here. This can actually bring some really strong tornadoes. And then we have some more severe weather actually moving to the South Dakota area. So we're going to have quite a lot of areas in severe weather in the plains. And then the band's going to get a lot bigger. Really strong storms for the plain or the central part of Iowa. Really strong storms. Actually going to even bring some severe weather for southern Minnesota. And even a little bands for the central part of South Dakota. This is very surprising to see this, especially that severe weather like that in the southern part of Minnesota. And then that actually brings very, very powerful bands as we go more into the tomorrow in the evening. Really, just really powerful storm. Even possibly have tornadoes right here near that near the Chicago area. We could have some possible tornadoes. And then, yeah, just really severe weather into the Madison area. And then we can even have that possible flooding threat for the southern part of Minnesota. Haven't really gotten that much heavy rain in Minnesota the past couple hours, but that will really change. And then all the way go to the Memorial Day. We can have the strong bands moving to the Wisconsin area. So we can even have some severe weather for the Northeast today. That's going to come in with these bands forming near the Erie area. It's going to start very small. It's going to have some little scattered little bands there, and just going to be very complex. But these can be very strong bands once they get into that more to the evening hours, because then they're going to get that heat. Really strong. This band's going to move into that Pittsburgh area, and then we're going to have some. They may look small, guys, but they can be very powerful. Right here, like in these little center parts right here. These can be very powerful, but they may not be that big, but they are very powerful and small. And then as we go later into today, it's going to move on to the parts of the Atlantic Ocean. It starts to fall apart very fast, but we can have this possible flooding threat into the Maine area. And then we go into tomorrow, we can have some severe weather into that Pittsburgh area again, and then possible smaller bands that are severe into that Columbus, Ohio area. But we go into more into the Memorial Day. It's just gonna have that rain and head to the Detroit area. It's gonna start going to the Detroit area. So that's what's gonna happen mostly this weekend. So let's check out what the Storm Prediction Center does have for today. It's not gonna be a tremendous, huge chance, but we're gonna have actually enhanced risk, which is actually not pretty bad. Still pretty good chances for severe weather. And then we're going to have the slight chances moving to the northeast in the Ohio Valley. But we're going to have a huge marginal expansion there, stretching all the way to that Buffalo area, to the all the way to the part of the El Paso, Texas area. Really big area. So the marginal covers 47 million people are under the marginal. We have Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis, Columbus, Tulsa. We even have we have some other areas in the Joplin. We have St. Louis. We have other huge cities in there. But in the slight chance, let's talk about the ones in the South Central and the Plains first. So in the slight chance, we have Oklahoma City, Kansas City. We even have parts of some southern parts of the areas of Missouri. And then we have an enhanced risk, which is going to be quite a big area. It cover around 2 million people. We can have Wichita, Amarillo, Enid, Hutchinson, and Dodge City. Hutchinson's seen the enhanced risk quite a lot of times so far this year. In this month, we have Wichita, Amarillo, Edmond, Hutchinson, and parts of the Dodge City. So that's what's going to happen in the enhanced. And then for the slight chance in the northeast, we have Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo. So that's what we have there for today. So we're going to have two areas that are going to have a severe weather into that plains and then the northeast. Same thing going to happen there, except it's going to be more to the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic and the northeast. And then the slight chance is really going to spread a lot, as we saw that severe weather that was in the South Dakota area. So we have a population of 11 million people in that slight. We have Indianapolis, Columbus, Omaha, Lincoln, and Lubbock. So that's where we have those areas and the slight chance. And then we have another enhanced risk that moves a bit more to the north that covers Kearney, Garden City, Dodge City, Hastings, and Liberal, Kansas. So again, Dodge City is going to be in that enhanced risk. So it's going to be quite a messy Memorial weekend for the parts of southern Kansas. And then we have a marginal risk for those areas near the Baltimore area. And then we have some more into the Des Moines area too. So that's tomorrow. And then as we go into the Memorial Day, this is Memorial Day. We have a smaller chance of severe weather now. It's only getting to a slight chance, but it's going to bring in some really strong storms for the parts of the more to the Midwest now. We're going to have Chicago, and then we're going to have Madison, we're going to have Des Moines, we're even going to have a really southern tip of Minnesota, and then we're going to have the Omaha and Lincoln area. And then the marginal risk, we have a population 37 million people. We have Milwaukee, St. Paul, Minnesota. We even have Lubbock, Fort Wayne, and Indianapolis. So we actually have a lot of areas in the north or parts of the Midwest that are in the marginal. So let's take a look at now the precip, because if you heard earlier in the video, we've had up to a foot in some areas the past couple of days, and we're going to have a lot more possible to come. So a lot of rivers have been in parts of the flooding chances. We've had the Ohio River, we've had the Mississippi River, we've had a lot of other smaller rivers that have gotten so much rain and overflown. So that's why we actually have a lot of those flood warnings and flood watches. But it's going to be quite a wet end of May for these areas in the plains. Really dry for the south though. But this is going to be the general area that's going to get the most amount of rain. This is all the way into Tuesday, so all the way into the end of Memorial Day. This is what you can expect. More into that southern part of Kansas, southeastern part of Kansas. That's where we can actually have 4 inches there. And then for the more to the Jefferson City, or come miles west of Jefferson City, we have or more to the Kansas City area, we have about 3.5 inches there. And then near the Dodge City, that's where we can have 3 inches. And then more to the Midwest, we actually can mostly get up to 2 inches, maybe 2.1 at most. But that's what's going to happen there. And then the Northeast, not going to be a lot of rain. Only about 1.2 inches there from the Arlington area. But again, this is going to be what we can expect. And again, if it's only like 2 inches there additional, and you think, wait, that's not that lot, but they've gotten almost a foot or even more in some areas in the past couple of days. So this is quite crazy. So let's take a look at the Cape now, because we can have some high numbers move in as we go more into today. So at 2 p.m., Lubbock is going to be at 4,100. And then 4,200 in the southern part of Texas. And then in the Dodge City, we have some 3,000s, and then some more 3,000s in the Oklahoma City area. We'll go to 8 p.m. Very, very high numbers. Very surprising as we go in the overnight hours. We're going to have some 4,100s in the near the Wichita area. We're going to have some 4,000. We're going to have mid 4,000s, even possible high 4,000s. We're going to have 4,800 in just central Kansas. And then more into the Kansas City area, we can actually have some 3,000s. Even have some high numbers near the Indianapolis area. It's going to be very scattered, not going to be put together like this, but we can have some very high numbers in that central part of Kansas, like right into the central part. Are we in? Oh, that's Antarctica, guys. Alright. So let's go back into what we can expect there. Let's go all the way into tomorrow now. Where tomorrow we have the biggest threat for the plains area. So at 2 p.m., it really does fall apart compared to what we're going to see tonight. Really high number in the Dodge City area. We're going to have some very high 3,000s, low 4,000s. And then the highest can be into the just the western part of Kansas. And then we go to 8 p.m. tomorrow. That's where we can have these high numbers start to stretch into that Dodge City again. Some really, really high 3,000s. Even have some high numbers into the Colorado area. We have some very high 3,000s in there, and even possible 4,000s. And then more into that little stick part of there of Oklahoma, 4,000s. And then we go to tomorrow, or sorry, we go to Memorial Day. We're going to have some really small numbers form into the plains. And then we go to 5 p.m. though. It's going to really change there. We're going to have a very, very high numbers into the parts of the Iowa area. Des Moines, 4,100. This day we're going to have the slight chance in effect for these Midwest areas. And then northern Kansas can have some 3,900 in numbers around there. And then we go to 11 p.m. It really does calm down though. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. I'm really trying to do my first hurricane forecast tomorrow. Not like 100% guaranteed, but there's an 80% chance I'm going to do my hurricane forecast tomorrow unless anything pops up. But yeah, see you guys in the next video, and bye.